Ready? Do we have audio? That is not working very well. Let's see. Testing, testing. Let's try that and see if that works. Testing. Okay. So that works. All right. Well, I don't know. The sound just kind of all crept out. So unfortunately, don't get to sing today on this July 4th. But let's soldier on, shall we? Live from Cabot, Arkansas, this is the Ramsey Show Aftershow show. And to plug myself here, other financial content you can find in the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. There are 103 of those shows. There are 9, soon to be 11, Ramsey adjacent songs in the music playlist. And of course, there's this show, the Ramsey Show Aftershow show, of which this is number 377. Alrighty, so we're going to do John Deloney song because he hosted today. He actually has been the host all week so far. He's been the co-host on shows Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And today, Thursday, July 4th, they're off. And he was on the replay. And I would imagine there'd be a replay tomorrow because I think Ramsey Solutions would be the kind of place that would give you off Friday as well, so you could have a long weekend. So I would expect a replay tomorrow. But so far, 4 days of Mr. Deloney, 3 new ones, and a replay. And then I was going to do the Baby Steppin' song as well. That's to Dua Lipa's Levitating. And you can hear the first tries on those in that music playlist. Where's Baby Steppin' song? Baby Steppin' song right there from 10 months ago. And oh, it doesn't let me, doesn't show it there. Let's see. There we go. So the first one that I did was the original Baby Step song. You should do the baby steps. That's Love Yourself, written by Ed Sheeran, and vocal stylings by Justin Bieber. The John Deloney song, the temporary lyric video, was just still the only video of that. And so that's in there. And then plus, John Deloney did a reaction to it on his Instagram. You can add both me and him on the gram. And that's me reacting to John Deloney's reaction to the John Deloney song. And as I said, I was going to do the Baby Steppin' song, the second Baby Step song I wrote. And that's the Dua Lipa's Levitating. So Baby Steppin' instead of Levitating. All right, and so hopefully next after show, it was all working just fine until right before I started. And then the audio for the music, the microphone's working fine, but the audio for the music just went out. So I guess we'll just skip to Market report. Market closed the day, of course, but ended on Wednesday with new highs for both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. And you people that do just S&P 500, again, I keep saying it, you're really missing out by not putting a little bit at least in the Nasdaq. I mean, index funds are not the Ramsey advised thing to do for retirement. That would be managed funds, because the managed funds can make more than the index, and I know they can because mine do. And so if you just haven't, people that say no, they don't exist, that's false. They do. You just have to spend some time looking for it. You might have to educate yourself on it. You can go to YouTube and YouTube search Ramsey investing and watch every single video that he does. You probably get a lot of Ramsey investing videos that are other people criticizing his method. But if you look at all the Ramsey Solutions ones, it'll tell you in all of those what you need to look for when you are comparing mutual funds in order to get good ones. And what you're looking for, I mean, basically that is a 10 or more year track record, and of it consistently making more than 10% per year. 10 to 12% is what the S&P 500 has done. And yeah, let's just take a little bit of that, take a little glance at that. 10 to 12% per year average is what it makes. But over the past 5 years, 85%. So you can't beat that, except the Nasdaq does. But as you can see, a new high today, or Wednesday rather, and so it's still there, hasn't moved, except with the after hours trading. Let's look at that. So you can see what that is. S&P a little bit, futures a little bit down, and all this could change by the time the market opens again tomorrow on Friday, not a federal holiday. Okay, where were we? But so you remember? Let's see. Let's do that again. 5 years, 85.16. 85.16% over the past 5 years. Now, over the last 15 years, the Nasdaq has beaten the S&P all but 3 or 4 times. I think it's 3, it might be 4 times out of the last 15 years. So if we go to 5 years, that's 122%. So what was that? 15 and 22. That is what, 37%. So the people that are just doing the S&P 500 index fund, you are leaving money on the table, but also people just doing the Nasdaq index fund are also leaving money on the table, because my large cap fund I have 3 different large cap funds which made more than the Nasdaq in the past 5 years. So stop leaving money on the table is what would my advice be. Okay, but as far as market in general, the Dow Jones down 0.061, so barely down, and Russell 2000, which is the small cap index. Anybody fun coming up? JP Morgan Chase on the 12th reporting. I guess nobody big reporting soon, or they would have had that on there. And let's see, Tesla has been up big every day. Granted, they dropped a bit recently here. Oh, and this is fun too. I forgot about this. I did want to talk about this. So when this happens, this is all after hours. The gray is all after hours. So the market did close early, 1 p.m. on Wednesday, I guess to let the people get out of town for a long weekend. But it did close early at 1 p.m. So then the after hours trading started. And then as you can see right there, all of a sudden that much gets sold and then bought again and went back up right to the same spot. So I got to think that's computers doing that, and that's somebody locking in this much of a gain and then buying it on sale this much. And so you're talking about a double whammy. They lock in the gains from whenever they bought it previously. I guess if they bought it during the day right there, they would have lost money. But anywhere in here and lower back in time, this is all just one day right here. And so, I mean, that's you're locking in all this profit there by selling it, and then you're buying it back at this cheap, and then it goes right back up to exactly the same place and goes up a little bit more over the rest of the after hours trading for that. So, and that this of course is just on Tesla itself, and so that's some locked in gains for some people. But let's look for a month. So it's up for the month, but oh, and up. Let's see what. Yeah, so the year to date it's down a little bit, but let's check the 1 year. You can see from 12 months ago, it's down, and for 5 years is a good look at it. Oh, but it's still up from 5 years even too. So okay, I guess the big thing was it was up this high in 2021, and then since then has not gotten to a new high. So that's interesting, and it's fun to look at individual stocks because certainly Tesla is part of the Nasdaq, but we don't invest in single stocks. Instead, we invest in instead of just in Tesla or even just in Apple. We don't do that. We invest in these six are all part of the Nasdaq, and we invest in that and a bunch of other ones at the same time. Inside mutual funds and managed mutual funds better than index funds because you can make more money. Not all of the managed funds make more than the index. You have to find the ones that do. Let's see. I think that's all we want. I guess we could look at crypto. Bitcoin still sliding. Let's check last 6 months. Oh, it's up over 6 months. Check over the last month, all sliding. So perhaps people losing their zest for it. Perhaps. We shall see. What about currencies, you ask? The euro up over the US dollar. Japanese yen up over the US dollar. The British pound, love. Some bloody quid up above the US dollar. The Canadian dollar up against the US dollar, and the Australian dollar mate up against the US dollar. So a clean sweep of the other countries beating the US dollar. But normally that is what I've found to happen when there's a good market day. The most time that would happen, there's a good market day, and so the dollar goes down a little bit. And when there's not a good market day, the dollar seems to be stronger. With the reasoning for that, I do not know. Okay. I also got some interesting stories. Yeah, the cryptocurrency invest. That's from studyfinds.org. Excuse me. Cryptocurrency investors more likely to self-report dark tetrad personality traits alongside other characteristics. Okay, I just thought that was an interesting headline. The smoking gun reports suspect busted for a 1 cent robbery. The gentleman who perhaps you could say he looks a little bit unhinged. He did not give a reason that he did just the 1 cent. And he said he was denied it by the teller. Didn't give it to him. And so, but he claims that he was gonna just take the penny and sit down in the bank and wait for cops to come. So I don't know, cry for help, wanting attention for whatever reason. But I don't know. Let's see, did they have a unarmed suspect? So did not have a suspect. So I don't know what because sometimes the tellers are told to just give them the money, and so since he had no weapon. I mean, I guess he wasn't much of a threat. So I don't know what the dealio is on that, but I just thought that was interesting because at least you think you would try at least $1,000 even if you want to just try to get quick money fast. So money likely not the impetus behind that. From Business Insider, now we know how much it costs to make a $2,800 Dior bag. Is that how you pronounce that? Dior? I don't know. That's too richy for me, of course. Italian prosecutors found Dior paid $57 to produce bags retailing for $2,780. Bags approved in either way. I'm all for capitalism. So if people want to pay that much for it, why not? Judges placed Dior and Armani units under judicial administration for 1 year. All right. Does it say what the problem was with that? Costs do not include raw materials such as leather. Okay, so it doesn't cost just that then. So it would be more than that, but probably still nowhere near the approaching the amount it's retailed for. But I mean, that's what's going to happen with Richie stuff. What else do we have? Wall Street Journal. In an era of fakes, how to know when someone online is real. And this basically tells you, I think it says a story of what is it? It says when you do on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, now known as X, when you run into anybody on there, basically you're buying something and it's not from Amazon or another company you heard of, it's very possible it could be a scam. There's been a bunch coming off of Facebook Marketplace recently. You try to buy something from Facebook Marketplace, as I think the example in here is. We'll get to it in a second, I guess. Let's see. Harder than ever to know if the person showing up in your message is real or not. Check mark used to mean identity had been verified, not necessarily on all sites. Still does on the Instagram and the Twitter, I believe. But it says artificial intelligence can help bad actors replicate voices and appearances of strangers. And the best step that you can do on that is to slow down. Don't rush to respond to an intriguing message just because, I better, and especially if they give you a great deal. There's a reason they give you a great deal, because they're not going to give you the item. Let's see. Instead, do some vetting before. Exactly. $1.1 billion in romance scams alone last year. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see. 27-year-old Callie Smith failed to get pre-sale tickets to an Olivia Rodrigo concert. I think she finally got her driver's license, so good for her. Started to look for resale tickets. Most cost about $700 a piece for a show in Washington, D.C. The DMV is no joke. She came across the Instagram account offering 2-for-1 tickets. Exchanged phone numbers, video chatted, and Smith sent $700 via Apple Cash. Now, it's just some person there. So, why would you just assume somebody would send you the stuff for the money? You can't do that in today's world, unfortunately. The woman immediately blocked her, never transferred the tickets up. Yep, Smith couldn't get her money back because instant peer payment services have few fraud protections. That's right. So you're not protected from that. So you are the one that has to be smarter on that. Going through a different payment method with more fraud protections, such as designating the transaction as payment for good or services in PayPal. I've had that kind of thing. I've actually seen that kind of thing, not to me personally, but as have happened through PayPal, and also PayPal wouldn't do anything about it. You just can't trust everyone. That's right. I mean, really don't trust anyone. To make them earn your trust first, and that often means you can't buy something you want to get very fast from the person. Let's see. It talks about AI mimicking voices. Tech companies taking steps to protect users, stop suspicious communication before it can reach you even. Google's building a tool, but the problem is that you start looking for this stuff, especially ads on Facebook Marketplace. You start doing that, then you're out of that jurisdiction where the third party is trying to help you with that. Most websites, I don't know specifically about Facebook, but most of them have a third party selling the ad, so they're not directly related with letting people put false ads on there because it's a third party doing it. So just always be careful, and if it sounds too good to be true, it is. And like I said, don't be in a rush at all. Try to get some kind of some kind of verification or something. But in this kind of thing where the person that had the ticket supposedly said yes, I said supposedly, like Joey Tribbiani on Friends, supposedly had tickets for Olivia Rodrigo, and she said send the money, and the money was sent, and that's it. So that's $1 is too much to send to somebody when you don't know that you're going to get the item back that you're paying for. Alrighty, so those are some fun articles. So now we're going to do what I normally do on the weekend stream, which is the answering your financial questions, where I rarely talk about anything else unless it's brought up by a particular question. But I dive right into the questions after doing my initial here's my YouTube channel thing. And so let's do that. Here's where we ended up on last Sunday's answering your financial questions. Afraid Craft 9302 company profit sharing question. My company puts in 15% of my annual income into a profit sharing retirement account each year. My question is, should I count that as part of our 15% or treat it as if it's not there and put away my own 15% since I'm actually not contributing anything myself? Thank you. You are welcome. And yeah, the answer to this is that match or anything else your company gives you is just extra. Dave wants you to have 15% in the game as far as retirement. So like if they would give you a 5% match, you do need to do 15 of yourself for yourself, and then the 5% is just gravy on the biscuit. It's just going to be extra. And so if they're putting in 15% extra, that's just extra. So that's how that works. You don't count anything the company gives you for free to towards that 15%. Life lived outdoors, all right? The show again brought to you by Crinkly Water Bottle. Sorry about that. Diving in, feeling nervous for no good reason. If you buy something from Crinkly Water Bottle, be sure to use promo code CSM. Oh, that's a joke. I don't have any sponsorships. Not yet. Maybe one day. That'd be awesome. Diving in, feeling nervous for no good reason. Well, I mean, I get it because you're changing the way you do things. Most people do not do things this way. Starting with the stuff on step 0, you're doing things without debt. You're being intentional with money, and that is just not something people normally do. The average person does not normally do that. Okay, I just agreed to sell my truck for a profit. Great, it's not underwater. That's fabulous news. Thus removing the payment from my finances, using the equity to buy a car for cash. Great, excellent. Have this nagging feeling I'm doing the wrong thing, fear of reliability issues, and the idea I'll not be able to afford such a nice vehicle again, I guess. Well, you can when you don't have any debt. And when you have a full emergency fund, guess what? Then all income can go towards things that you want. Of course, you got to do after you get the full emergency fund, you got to do investing. And if it's applicable, say for kid college and pay off the mortgage, if those are applicable. But this is not the wrong thing, is what you were doing before, as in buying the truck on payments. Let's see. Bought before the market went nuts. I don't know, looking to add in a second job as well. Yeah, and that'll make all the baby steps, more income makes the baby steps go by faster. Gives you more progress. As well to help make changes accordingly to the plan. Anyone else feel this way, switching things up? I mean, I get it because it's a change and some people don't like change. But the reason I think that most people start the baby steps or even have searched out a way to get out of debt, normally they would have put in get out of debt in the search engine, and you know who comes up? Mr. Ramsey. And so then you get his fabulous proven advice. And so that is different than you've done it before. And so that can make you a little trepidatious. But personally, um, I was ready to not be in debt anymore. So I wanted to make a change. So I embraced the change, actually. And actually, in my case, I was familiar with the advice before. I just didn't do it. Let's see. Probably I first started listening to Dave probably 10 years before my ex-wife and I started to pay off debt and do stuff his way. Let's see. Altruistic ad 2083. 23 years old, still a baby, and I don't know what to do with my money. 23 years old and live in Bulgaria. Third year in university. One more and I'll take my bachelor's. Just take it. The uni is cheap, 600 Bulgarian dollars, I guess, a year. BGN, I don't know what that is. Or some bad cable channel. No, it's probably their money. I live in a dorm and it's like 880 BGN a month. Commodities included. I can live in here. Commodities, probably utilities. I can live in here one more year. If I go for a master's, it's 2.5 years. It will still be cheap. Okay. For food, I spend around 900 a month. Now, based on, I know we're not comparing, probably American prices to Bulgaria prices is not apples to apples, obviously, but spending your year's worth of rent, I know it's like in a dorm type thing, so maybe they give you a break on that. But spending more on food a month than you do for rent a year is crazy. So, but again, I don't know what the breakdown is on that, and if it can even be compared to the American breakdown. Let's see. So for food, I spend around 900 BGN a month, but I don't have anywhere to cook. I see. So it's mostly takeout. So that's why it's fast. Okay. I pay another 200 a month for my phone and my laptop. Now, what you can also do is get stuff that you don't have to cook. They don't have any microwaves at the dorm. That kind of thing. So I would try to, get away from the takeouts because that is going to bump that up. Pay another 200 a month for my phone. So again, a third of the cost of the dorm room for a year. A third of that is for phone a month. Oh, phone and laptop. Okay, so might have gotten a combo deal maybe with it. Or they added it together. I don't know. Till September, another 100 for internet and cell service. Finance the phone and the laptop, and then the internet service is another 100 a month. So I smoke and it's around 250 a month. Hey, quit smoking. Better for your health, better for your wallet. Occasionally I go out partying with friends. And you can still do that, but you just can't spend money now if you're going to do Dave's advice. I'm not seeing, let's see, I only see, that much debt is just, So I'm assuming the college is, since it's cheap, none of that's debt. The phone and laptop seem like that's debt. Internet and phone service is not debt. That is just like a utility. The smoking is not debt either, but your lungs think it is. So don't do that. Which is around 400 a month to partying or go out with friends. And that's a no, 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 no. No, you're not doing that anymore. Don't have any debt except laptop and the phone. There we go. Make around 27 a month after taxes. So 2,700 a month, and the dorm is 80. 900 is the food. So I mean, your food, your groceries, and your partying are the most things. So I'm giving you more than 800 left. You're just going on the 800. So missed, where is it here? There's a baby steps right here. Missed baby step 0. Part of that is doing a budget, and that's where you cut out smoking. You stop smoking. You stop going out with partying and friends as much, and at least cut that in half, if not completely, until you pay off the stuff. After you finish paying off the stuff and get a full emergency fund, then you can budget in fun like that. 400 a month is still crazy to me, which I've been debt free and had an emergency fund forever. And I don't spend 400 a month in partying and going out with friends. Crazy. You can go out with friends without spending money. You can hang out with people without spending money. And just because they spend money, you don't have to do that. Let's see. Currently, I just spend them for, actually, I don't even know what for. Yeah. And it's still gone, probably. Sounds like, yeah. And so this is like the other one that is trepidatious about, or nervous about doing it, because it's something you haven't done before. And so you got to want to do it, and you got to commit to it. I have a little sister, and I give her some pocket money from time to time. I mean, that's fine, but I mean, all that adds up. So, it depends on how much is some pocket money. But all that should be in a budget ahead of time, and it shouldn't include the smoking and shouldn't include $400 for fun money per month. That's a huge part of 2,700. 400 is too much for that. So, yep. Oh, imagine that. Even though it's Bulgaria, the answer is going to be spend less. Yes, and you could always make more if you can work more. Do that, but spend less. The general principles work everywhere. Day and 13 thread, frequent poster here on the Reddit. Yeah, this is reddit.com/Dave Ramsey. Thanks everybody that is working on our Independence Day. Is getting to work optional status possible following the Dave Ramsey approach? It sure is. It sure is. Guess what? If you're not making debt payments and you're investing for retirement, so that's taken care of, and you'll have enough at some point if you're having enough already, if you have enough already in investing, then you wouldn't have to do any more, and you pay your house off early, then at that point you're in work optional status. So again, it depends on what how old you are, how much you have in retirement already, and what your expenses are right now and are gonna be. And so generally you would want to cut those down if you're not going to be working. So let's see. To further explain my question, I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan. Well, Dave does like you to work longer than he's not a fire guy. Fixed income retire early. He's not down with that. Mostly because he thinks you'll be bored sitting at home all the time. So if you don't like what you're doing now as work, Find something that you like doing, something that you're interested in. Let's see, the idea of financial peace appeals much more to me than using leveraged real estate debt to build wealth, which is not, if you know anything about Dave Ramsey, that is not the advice either. So stop it. Even if it means I will build wealth more slowly, like Dave talks about sometimes on his show. Yeah, you have to use real estate that you pay for in cash. That way you get more of a return on renting it because you're not paying payments on it. You get, if you buy it all in cash, you get immediate return on it. But you know, at that point, if you only care about the money and you don't care about being a realtor, then you can just keep all the money you save instead of buying real estate with it and then selling it. Let's see, I'm risk averse, and I mean, you said the word leverage real estate debt. As far as appeals to me more than, if you're risk averse, you're not even thinking about debt. You don't do that. I am more comfortable investing in things I understand, index fund, dividend stocks that don't require leverage or a team of other people. Right, and they don't, mutual funds don't call you in the middle of the night and say the roof is broken, and then you have to fix the roof. Even my own mortgage debt stresses me out. However, a small part of me at the same time doesn't want to work until I'm 65, for example. Okay, so basically wants to retire early. Guess what? You need to put on the gas right now then to get all the steps done to pay off that mortgage. Let's see if there's anything more that is interesting. However, a small part of me at the same time doesn't want to work until I'm 65, for example. I already read that. I was just reading it like it was new. I also agree with the opposite view, like Robert Kiyosaki. You mean the guy that said 2 Decembers ago that the next May the market was going to be down 80% and then it was actually up in May, in the following May. So like two Mays ago, he said it 2 Mays ago, he said market was gonna be down 80%. And he's constantly doubling down and constantly trying to call it. Yes, the market is gonna drop. Probably not 80%, but the market is gonna drop at some point. It always does. But he constantly tries to call it. He's an idiot. I don't care that I mean, he definitely has more money than me, but I mean, he also has, well, tons of debt as well. And so he's into debt leverage. So, but you agree with the opposite view. So you just need to pick a side. This person does. That you want to get to a point where your assets pay for your liabilities. Good luck. He has not been able to make that work yet. And you have multiple income streams as opposed to stashing everything inside 401ks. And yeah, I mean, having multiple income streams and not putting money just in investments like in the market, that's going to take work, and that takes cash to set up. Unless you're using debt, like Mr. Kiyosaki is using debt for it, which is a no-no on this plan. And that's not really that's a diametrically opposed view. That's like the complete opposite view of Dave Ramsey's world. And so Dave Ramsey's advice. His whole thing is no debt. And so, I mean, it's up to you. If even your mortgage debt stresses you out, so you're going to live on it. You want to have more debt than you do assets, like Mr. Kiyosaki often does. Has more debt than assets most times. You want to be like that then? If your own mortgage debt stresses you out, what's that going to be like then? I'm just wondering if the get wealthy slowly approach can still allow for early retirement and pass. Not as early as you want it to, probably. But also, guess what? Doing it like Robert Kiyosaki is not going to let you do that either. So you just need to pick a side. Any thoughts on this? You just need to pick a side and figure out if you're going to do debt leverage or not. Which most people would rather do debt leverage than deny themselves anything, even though that's not guaranteed to work, is the problem with that. if you save up money and keep money, that's guaranteed. The market is relatively safe because you're looking at it as an over the time thing, but your problem is you trying to retire at age 40 when you haven't done enough work on the baby steps yet or any kind of plan. You have not set yourself up for it. So you just need to pick a side. And you can pick any side you want to. And you don't have to run it by anybody. You don't have to put it on Reddit or anything like that. You can just do something that you want to do. A huge Dave Ramsey fan, and yet agrees with Robert Kiyosaki and stuff. Crazy. They are, I mean, that's what, Superman, Lex Luthor, Batman, and Joker is what I mean. And you can even pick which one is the hero and which one's not, but that diametrically opposed. That's just far as core beliefs, not even plan related, but just core beliefs. Crazy day in 13 threat, and this is by far the most. I mean, there's been like Dave-ish stuff before, but this is by far the most out there for day in threat. Anyway, so that's it. So the answer is a no, dog. But is getting to work optional status possible following the Dave Ramsey approach? Not as fast as you'd like it, probably. And that's probably related to you. If you never had any debt ever, and you were doing these steps are similar, like immediately when you became an adult, you'd be a lot closer. If you played around with debt a while before, that puts retirement age back. Everything you do wrong puts you further back from your early retirement. Alrighty. Curious winter. Winter is coming. Not for a while though. 95 degrees. It was 96 a little while ago. Curious winter. 3786. Hesitant to splurge on nicer car. Well, you should be, unless you're on, at the earliest, step 4, but no new car until you are a millionaire because of the crazy depreciation on it. Let's see. Having a hard time wrapping your head around splurging on a nice car. I feel like for me, 30K for car, crazy expensive. Right. I would never buy one for 30K. Ever. If it gets me from point A to point B, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care about any of that stuff. So let's see. Let alone 40, 50, 60, 70 KS. Is that from a different country again? Does that mean bucks? I don't know what KS is. For an actual nice car. Currently drive a paid off 18 Prius I bought used worth about 21K. All right. My car's a 2005, and of course, I'm not the person to probably answer this question because I don't give a flip about cars. Dave actually likes cars, and so he would be, probably be better at this, but he's not gonna say to buy too much. And again, it depends on what baby step you're on. Let's see what it is. Lexus NX around 45 to 65K, depending on how you option it. So if you're going to option in a way, that means it's a new car. So that means you have to be a millionaire in order to get it. I was clicking so I couldn't do, I guess I could have done it with this one. A millionaire before you do that. 34, debt free, except a mortgage, 125K income per year. How much is it? 70. Yeah, 70's out of it because everything you own with motors and wheels in it can only be 50% of your annual income. So you're going to be limited to what, 62 and a half. So you're like right in here, and that assumes you are a millionaire. He doesn't specifically say that you can't do it if you're, let's say, debt free except the mortgage. Okay. I would not buy a new car, even if I wanted to buy a new car. I would recommend not doing that until you have the mortgage paid off. What is wrong with that 18 Prius? What is the problem? What is the need for having a nicer car than that? The 18 Prius would be way newer and way nicer than mine, and a 21K, I wouldn't do that. There's no need to do that. But you know, some people like cars. Let's see. No kids, partner, roughly save around 55 to 65% of my income a month, and about 22. Okay, so you don't save extra other than the emergency fund. He's doing it wrong. You don't save extra. Other than past your emergency fund, you would have the step three, full emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then you don't save a cent extra unless it's for like a sinking fund that it has a specific purpose, not for whatever I want to spend it on, but like new tires, and you label it new tires, and you put money in there until you have enough for the new tires, and then you stop spending until you need another sinking fund for something, or you buy the tires. Let's see. So yeah, so you don't save extra, you're paying off the thing. So you're trying to delay paying off the mortgage now. And this is where you're using debt leverage now. And a lot of people do that because they have mortgages that were in existence before everything went crazy with the real estate market. And they have 2.5% or something like that mortgages. And so they're debt leveraging, keeping that around in order to do stuff like buying nicer cars. Let's see, 22% per year per retirement. That does it say 22%? It does not. It says 15%. And anything extra doesn't go into extra savings. Anything extra doesn't go into more investing. It goes into the freaking mortgage. No kids for this particular person, so can skip baby step 5. But yeah, none of this says do anything that you're doing. Net worth is about 500K, so not a millionaire. So no new car either. Expenses monthly are 1,200 mortgage, and 1,300 ish for rest of living expenses. Doesn't seem that bad. Let's see. For the car, I've always been on the side of financial practicality instead of luxury. Yeah, what happened? I bought all used cars around the 10K to 20K range, but they never were the cars I really wanted. They just were transportation appliances. I feel like 30K for me is insane for a car. Exactly. However, I do love a luxury SUV. Well, you need to pick a side for yourself then. Am I a tightwad or is my rational mind justified? It's 100% justified because it is insane. It is insane. I would never pay 30K for a car. There's no need to. Am I tightwad or is my and also, I mean, you even thinking about it though means you're just like who was that? I can't. Let's see, who was it? Just the previous thing. Dan 13 threat. That means you want something now that needs to be a baby step 7 item, but you want it now. And so part of being an adult is telling yourself no to stuff you want. And at this point, I mean, you're not gonna, I mean, you bought that, you car about 21K, and yet you say 30K is insane. Where does that number drop off for you? So again, I mean, this is a thing where, I mean, you could save up the money for it and budget it and so forth. I don't think Dave requires you to pay off your mortgage first, but I would before doing anything like that. If the 18 Prius was, but again, I'm not a car guy, so again, I'm not the best for this, but I still went out and do that. So I'm like you. I would think it would be insane, but I wouldn't even be thinking about all of this dumb stuff that you're thinking about. I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb. And you have the list right here. You have the steps right there, and you're not doing them, but yet you post right here where the steps are. You post right next to it uh, all of your stuff. And so, again, you need to just make the decision. You can do whatever you want to. You do not have to follow Dave's advice. But his way is proven, yours is not. And if you do this, then it's taking you longer to get into step 7. And guess what? If you get that car, the next thing you might want to do, guess what? Is start having work optional status and be able to retire early. So you cannot do both. That's going to push that date way more back than you. That means you're going to have to work longer because you bought a dumb car. All right. No contribution. 7117. Why is Dave Ramsey against living with parents? He thinks adults, if you're an adult, you should be living on your own. First of all, so that you have to deal with life, because that prepares you for the future. Because you don't just rely on mommy and daddy for everything. And so that you at least move out and have a roommate or two, something like that. And so at least you're in a situation where their parents aren't there for you as a backup plan. Let's see, I get that children grow up to become adults and start their own families. So in that instance, wouldn't it be wise for the parents to move in with you, or vice versa if it's a high cost of living city with an inherited home? Oh, got a specific thing now. All right, if they're still able-bodied, they can take care of the grandchildren and still do. Yeah, David is still against it. He would like adults to live on their own and be adults instead of still being the kid. It's just sad to see some people leave their parents alone in their own home unless they were in some sort of abusive relationship in the past. Okay, this is just like one little like specific, got so many specifics here, so this might be exactly this person's situation, who knows. But yeah, Dave just likes adults to live on their own because it prepares them for the rest of their life. Because parents will not be around forever. So, and it being a way to stay in a high cost of living area when you don't make a high cost of living salary, that is not advised either. It's you live within your means, and if you don't have the means, you can't live there. Sorry. Comfortable Stop. Didn't we just do one from Comfortable Stop recently? I thought I saw that one. Maybe not. Maybe I saw that one. I was scrolling down. Comfortable Stop. Baby steps. All right. I'm familiar with those. They're right here. 1K keeps getting drained for emergencies. All right. And when that happens, I have the feeling, of course, not in all situations. Some people have really bad luck. But what I think is happening most times, mostly, is that people forgot about a birthday and then they call that emergency. Crinkly water bottle. Brought to you by Crinkly water bottle. Mom getting injured and moving in. That's a different thing. In February, March. Moving to a new apartment myself this month. Okay. I'll have to replenish the 1K in July and get back to paying off the 2K. Great. So if you're going to move and know you have expenses, the idea would to be to pause the baby steps and for you to save up moving money instead of pulling it from the emergency fund so you can move. I mean, basically, again, it's the way that people do it makes things take longer because you have to constantly finish it. If you kept the emergency fund and then save the money separately, I mean, I get it if it's a different, if it's like a last minute move and it was necessary, that's a different thing. But generally you're under a lease, and if you know the lease is over, then you know you have to save money for moving, and so you have time to do that. And so most of these problems are people just not doing it right, not being intentional with the money, not being intentional with their time, not looking ahead, just worrying about right this second, and then having issues and then all of a sudden you got an emergency because you're moving to a new apartment. That's not an emergency. You knew about that most likely. Again, I get it. Sometimes you might have to move immediately for whatever reason. But most times you have a lease that's X number of months, so you know in advance. I'll have to replenish the 1K in July. Okay, it's July 4th, so hopefully you're started doing that now. And get back to paying off the 2K credit card debt. Right. Then paying the remainder of the car. Thanks, Dave, and the baby steps and the rest of the crew. August equals pay off credit card debt. July 2025 equals car debt gone. I'm doing employee match in the meantime. Nope. Though it's like extra money. That's right. And you're missing out on it because you were dumb and had debt. If you want to get out of the debt quicker, sell the car and buy a cheaper one. Could do that. That's the beast. See, the way you get ahead financially is you sacrifice by not spending the money on something else, like a freaking car payment, car that you finance. So no match, not investing. See, so you see, you're on baby step 2 here. And how can you look at this list and say, oh, but I'm going to go ahead and invest some anyway? Unsure financially or psychologically why I wouldn't want the extra income if I can do an employee at match advice. Because, okay, one, because Dave said so. And he's the financial advisor here. Millions of documented success stories following his proven advice. But sure, you go ahead and do it your way. You can do it your way, and you don't even have to ask. But you're asking, so I'm telling. And other people too, probably. Don't employ man. Why wouldn't I get the extra? Advice and encouragement. I encourage you to do whatever you want to do. Dave's advice is the best way. And that includes no investing until you get the debt paid off and the full emergency fund. You're trying to set up retirement before you're out of debt and have a full emergency fund. You're trying to take care of retirement before you've taken care of right now. And guess what? You didn't take care of right now. That's why your 100K, I mean, 1K, $1,000 keeps getting drained for emergencies because you don't have right now taken care of because you're doing it wrong. So having to move, I mean, mom getting injured and stuff, mom should be, moving in February, March, had to move into your apartment, and you're going to move to a new apartment. You're moving to a new apartment because she's there, maybe. I don't know. Whatever this situation is, I mean, that's between you and her. How come you couldn't move to where she is? So again, all of these things mean you don't have right now taken care of, and you're trying to not do the steps right because you want to put together money for retirement, but not work on right now. Work on right now first, and then you'll be able to much better start doing retirement. So, but that is a constant argument though about about foregoing the match. And that's because you need to take care of the right now before you take care of the retirement. Kelfab, interest rates on loans. What about it? We don't care about those. The ideal interest rate would be 0% on $0. So then you don't have any, so then you don't even have to have the conversation about it. Hello, hi guys. I took out a loan in 2021 from USAA to assist my husband and I in creating a family. I'm so close to paying it off that I put something to it every day. Great. Typically it's $5 plus the daily interest, and I apply it to future payments just in case I'm strapped for cash later. Again, that's not living right either. Sometimes I have noticed that the balance is higher than what the daily interest would have been. For example, yesterday it was at 1655 after I paid $5.59. That's the daily interest. It depends on how they calculate it for one, but also not worth worrying about. Just pay it off as fast as you can, and then you won't have to worry about any of it. Let's see. For example, it was a 160. This morning the balance was 1656.77, so a lot more than the daily interest of 59 cents. Right, but if you didn't pay it, it would be 5.59 more than that balance. So I paid $6.77 to future payments, with $6.18 going to principal and $59 going to interest. What is the additional $118? I don't know. It depends on how they calculate it. If they have a fee for early payoffs, it could be anything. You have to read your loan agreement to find out. But how you don't have to worry about that anymore is you pay it off as quickly as possible. And so, I mean, putting all extra money to it that you have, if you're making $5 payments, you certainly it seems like you want to get it paid off. So certainly do that. I would concentrate more on that than worrying about the extra dollar. Granted, from one day to the next, that's different. But again, it depends on how they calculate it. And of course, any extra like fee or something that they have. Right, codename Ajax67. Should I max out my retirement match or pay off my car faster? 37 man. I'm about to get a promotion at work that comes with a nice but not massive pay bump. I did the math, and if I put 100% of the pay raise to my retirement, I will be within $100 of maxing out my company's 401k match for the year. Boom, 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 boom. If I put $100 of maxing out my... Okay, that's too early to max it out for the year. I mean, you put it in when you can, but you should only be doing 15%. As long as you still have to address good college or have a mortgage to pay off, you're doing it wrong in that case. But let's see. Come January, I can lower my contribution by half and use the extra to pay on my car. No, that's not how it works. How it works is you don't do any investing while you're on step 2. Steps 1, 2, and 3 in order, one at a time. And again, read it. Like, the only way that you would say, see step 2 there, pay off all debts from smallest to largest, and then look down and see invest in step 4. The only way that you would not consider that, I should get all my debts paid off and have a full emergency fund before I invest 1 more cent. And the only way you look at it and say, okay, I'll do all the steps at the same time, is if you're delusional or if you just want to do it your own way. And so you're making the steps fit to what you want to do. Or I can put the money towards paying off my 16% car note. 0 credit when I bought it and needed a car for my job. I was going through, I put it all to my car. I would have paid. I would have it paid off in 9 months. You can have it paid off faster if you don't do any of that freaking retirement. You max in your retirement for the year out early, which is unnecessary. Because you can't put any more in that. And then what? When you max the 401k match out, are you also going to max a Roth IRA and put money in a taxable brokerage as well while you still have debt? That's freaking dumb. Don't do that. Other than mortgage, I have no debt. Right. And you're not supposed to do any more than 15%. 15% of your gross income into retirement. No more than that until your mortgage is paid off. You're doing it wrong. So what should you do? As always, guess what? You won't believe this. The baby steps. It says it right there. If you watch the show, what should you do? You should do everything that Dave says right there on the show. If you look at his website and you see the baby steps on there, you do the baby steps as it's written here, and don't for some reason think just because you want to do it that think, oh, I can pay off all the debt and I can save and I can invest all at the same time. That's dumb. That's dumb to think that would be the way to do it. So some people are dumb though, so it's okay. It's all right. That's going to happen. You have to accept the reality of that. People are going to be dumb and they are going to try to make the baby steps fit into what they want to do. Even though the baby steps are not what they want to do because they want to do something different. Specialist. And this right here, is this Reddit slash, it's reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey. I get confused if this is our personal finance or our Dave Ramsey from time to time. But this person, I guess they're trying to be baby step 7 flair. Congratulations on that. They're trying to be cheeky because what they're saying is a lot of people, I mean, just from the questions and a lot of the comments, especially like on this one, 182 comments, I'm sure, I would say probably half of these. I don't have enough time in the day to do it, but I would say checking it might be interesting though. So maybe I will make a chance to time to do that one day. But I would guess half of these people said no. Oh, you should keep the mortgage around and then get a 5% investment, so you're making money. So keep a loan around like it's a pet. And then invest at the same time, which is, again, about as anti-Dave advice as you can get. And so, but a bunch of people on here do that. A lot of people go to the Ramsey show, watch the Ramsey show, or even would comment on here, probably because it's more traffic, because Dave Ramsey is a big name in it and they might have way more members and even casual drop buyer people in the Dave Ramsey subreddit than the personal finance subreddit. So, and that would be interesting to check too, but I'm not going to do it now. Maybe I will if I remember and get the chance. Remembering will be the hardest part. My 2.75 mortgage payoff strategy. Please blast me if this is stupid. Probably, because you know what the way to do it would be? That means you would be putting extra beyond the 15% of gross income while you still had after you had the full emergency fund and paid off all your other debt and you were still addressing kid college, if that applied. So let's just see. 90K on the mortgage we took out in 2020. It's always been my goal to pay off our house. Finally saved enough to do it, but got cold feet due to low interest rate. Okay, that's doing it wrong. Getting cold feet due to low interest rate. Interest doesn't matter. It doesn't say pay off your mortgage early only if the interest is high. It does not say that on this, nor does it say that on Dave's page. It just says pay off your home early. That means do it anyway, no matter what the stupid rate is. Congratulations. You bought a house before the real estate went stupid and you have a low rate. That doesn't mean keep it around forever and debt leverage your mortgage. That's not what Dave Ramsey advises. It's always been, where we go. This is where what we've come up with to balance risk / opportunity costs. You don't do that either. You do these steps if you want a proven way of doing it. Your way, if you keep coming up with stuff to improve the baby steps, you're going to make getting to step 7 take longer. And nobody wants that, dude, because then you can't retire early or do any of the other stuff people want to do. Let's see, we put 90K in Vanguard's money market, earning about 5%. This money is for house payoff. So in our mind, we have achieved the goal. Yes, you've achieved a goal. Take it out and pay off the stupid mortgage. And then guess what? Then if that puts you in step 7, then you can invest all of the mortgage payment. Account earns about 400 a month in interest. Each month, our mortgage principal decreases by about 500. So after we make our next mortgage payment, we owe 90, 89, 50, 500, and our money market account will have 90, 400. I then take the difference from the money market, in this case 900, and invest it into. Yeah, we're not doing that. You're not you're trying to debt leverage your mortgage, and if you want to do that, that's easily done, but you don't have to ask anybody about it. So why? And again, people that can come up with this kind of stuff, if they can think about it enough to come up with doing this stuff, which may mathematically be the correct thing to do, supposedly, but also eventually you might do something that's not going to work. And so you got to be careful with that. But I mean, if you can come up with this, you know darn well that that is not the advice. And so why do you ask? Does people locked comments? Yes, after 182. I love a good arbitrage. Yeah, arbitrage is debt leverage. And so that is not advised. Dave Ramsey doesn't like to do that because that's risk. He is risk averse, like the other person said they were, but they were still going to do debt leverage as well. All right, bit of morality question. Let's do that. Jive Turkey, I have a bit of morality question. ... Without getting into too much detail, I don't have a lot of money on my own, but I'm debt free and just got a nice emergency fund. I've got a nice emergency fund going. Okay, great. And that alone can be financial peace. I mean, maybe you don't have retirement set up yet, but that alone is huge. You're debt free and emergency fund. That means every cent you make is going to your expenses and other stuff that you want to do with the money. You're not paying off stupid stuff you bought on debt. Let's see, just opened a high yield savings account with $1,000, and I'll set up direct deposit for Monday. On the moral conundrum, I'm 55. That's up there. And for just getting, I am too, but I've been debt free and investing for years. So further along than you are. Let's see, 55. We live together, and I mostly take care of him. In order to smooth things with his inevitable passing, I hold about 30K of his in my savings. He is so anti-high yield savings account and is convinced it'll crash, will be broke, and living under a bridge next week. I can transfer 10K of his to my high yield savings account, and he'd never know. No, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. Why would you do that? That's your father, and he doesn't want you to do it. I mean, it would be better than having it in a regular savings, obviously. It would make more money that way, being in a regular bank savings account. But if he doesn't want you to do it, why would you do it? Is convinced it'll crash, will be broke, and living under a bridge next week. Well, if all your money is in it in addition to his, but a high yield savings account is, I mean, that's not going to crash. It's not the market. Let's see. It can transfer. He never know. In fact, I can have that 10K of his replaced in my savings in a fairly short period of time. What would you do in my shoes? Thank you for your time. Yeah, I wouldn't do something behind your father's back. So you want to take care of him, you can honor him, is what I would suggest. And not do something that you know he doesn't want you to do. AMS MAN 03, AMS man. Just retired and in step 7. Oh, I mean, that's great that it all happened at the same time. That's fabulous. I mean, you want to get to step 7 before retiring, if possible. But, better late than never. Better not being in step 7. Better than retiring and still owing money on the house. So I just decided to be retired on my 55th birthday last month, but I didn't get there as a result of following Dave's principles directly. Of course, you did. Let's see. I do, however, seem to have arrived with no debt for properties worth about $1.5 million, 1 million in IRAs, about 9,500 a month income, Social Security, rents, and dividends, without touching the IRAs, and only about 6K in expenses. All right, the 1 million in IRAs, if they're in, at least S&P 500 or better managed mutual funds, as the advice is, then that means that's making $100,000 a year. So you can also take that out as well if you need it. But I mean, 9,500 a month income, so I mean, you already have enough, so you don't have to touch any of that. Let's see, 3 cars, an RV, boat, and some toys, so we stay busy. Okay, I mean that you don't have any debt. That's fine. And you are a millionaire, so you can handle the depreciation on those toys, so that's fine as well. Now that we both hit the Medicare jackpot, okay, it seems like we should just be able to relax and enjoy, right? Our dilemma is that it just doesn't feel like enough. Does this make sense? Or am I worried about nothing? Update, I forgot to mention we have no children, so there's no need to worry about leaving large estate, just trying to enjoy our time in the sun. No, I don't know what you would be worried about. Some people this happens to. Some people have a trouble after they get to step 7, they have trouble spending money. Like, I mean, that would be like me on step 7, where I would actually feel, I mean, comfortable buying a $30,000 car. On step 7, I might, maybe. Again, it depends. It's a lot of factors. It would be a lot of factors in there. But I mean, you're set. Again, you plenty, no problem retiring. You're fine on everything. And you got the 3 cars, the RV, and the boat, and some other toys apparently too, and no debt on those. It doesn't feel like enough. Are you talking about enough assets or enough fun stuff? So it seems like he would be talking about enough assets, but I mean, if something went wrong in your life, the first thing you can do is sell your properties, and that's $1.5 million, and that invested, that also, I mean, that's going to make, again, generate $100,000 a year. So, I mean, I think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with building more, and you can do that. You can invest the 3,500 a month difference in some way. You can do that if you want, if you're not feeling too happy about the way you have it, but I think you're fine. So, because again, the idea is that you're not withdrawing more than you have expenses, and the way it is right now is Social Security, the rents and dividends are paying 9,500 a month, are paying $3,500 more than the expenses. So then the problem would be if expenses shot way up for some reason, and then you would have to either sell properties or start taking some of the generated wealth. But meanwhile, that's the 1 million in IRAs. That's gonna keep going up, so that's gonna go up by $100,000 a year if you don't take it out. And so you are basically still investing that constantly. So, but I mean, that's what I'm thinking. It's just like feeling like it's not enough money, and the person didn't follow Dave's principle directly, but I mean, seemed to have a ride with no debt. I mean, that's not a. It just happened that way. No, at some point you decided to not do debt, or do you decide to pay it off rather than debt leverage it like the smarties previously wanted to do? And so you didn't do debt leverage and keep that debt around forever in order to invest extra. You didn't do that. You paid off the debt. So no matter if you didn't do it exactly like that, it seems like you did, or at least eventually made the decision to do that, and it ended up working out for you right on your 65th birthday. Step 7, 65, retired, and you got plenty as far as I know. I'm not seeing anything on here that would make me feel like it wasn't enough. And if it's the other way, if you seem like it's 3 cars, RV, boat, and some toys are not enough, I mean, budget some vacations if you're not already. Do that. And figure out what it is. Some people, like I said, they get that they can't spend money, or they want too much stuff at this point. Like, if you want to say like a $2 million property that you use as a vacation house, that would be too much. But I'm not seeing anything like that on here. So I think this person is fine. But yeah, I mean, once you just have to look at the numbers and realize that the numbers mean that you're fine. Again, unless there's something going on that we don't know about. The Vision 75, SSDI and retirement. I was just approved for SSDI to a chronic. That is Social Security, disability. Saw the remit and retirement. Social Security disability income due to chronic illness that prevents me from working. I'm still fairly young at 49 years old. Not still a baby, but younger than me, so props. When we get to baby step 4, currently on step 2. Okay, I'm the winner on that part. Should I be putting 15% of my income into something? Yeah, I can't do a 401k, obviously, or an IRA as I understand it. That is a good, I don't know. If you're getting Social Security disability income, I don't know if that affects whether you can do that or not. Let's see. I'm married and wife is working. I mean, if you got to, the wife could open the IRA. If not, it doesn't currently have one. But let's see. SSDI. What are you looking for? SSDI. It's always fun, the ones where we learn something, both you and I. SSDI and open Roth IRA. Here's the AI overview. Thanks, AI. Yes, people who receive Social Security disability insurance benefits can open and contribute to a Roth IRA if they have other earned income. Oh, you have to have other earned income. You can't invest the SSDI. Yeah, they're not considered earned income. So you would have to, I don't know if they let you work at all if you get that. So you would have to look into that. And what else could we do? SSDI open a spousal Roth IRA. Maybe we can get around it that way. Non-working spouse who receives Social Security, disability insurance benefits. Maybe able to open a spousal Roth IRA if they meet certain requirements. The income, average monthly earnings, someone receiving cannot exceed $1,550. So you would have to do something to bring that money in to do it yourself, if that's allowed. If the spouse is legally blind, the limit increases to $2,590. If the spouse earned more than the allowed limit, they risk losing their SSDI payments. All right, that's the problem. That's the problem with all government handouts. They require you to not work. And if you can do anything to bring in money, then why wouldn't they let you do that? Tax filing, the couple must. file their taxes jointly. Okay. Spouses are subject to the same rules as other IRAs and contribution limits and investment options. Non-working who receives it may be able to spousal Roth IRA. Looks like you still got to have income, it looks like. Oh, they open a spousal IRA and that's for their spouse. Okay, but what about the in this case, I think wife opens the spousal Roth IRA for her husband to do like or to like get some extra. Who can open a spousal Roth? Spouses earning low or no annual wages, your spouse may be able to open a spousal IRA to save tax efficiently for retirement. It's not a joint account, but rather a separate IRA set up in your spouse's name. Must be married and filing a joint. Okay, so to me it seems like you can do it, but it's just saying spouse both times here. Referring to both of them is just a little bit confusing on the phrasing. AI should automatically fix that for you, but you know, what do you want? It's AI, right? Am I right? I'm right. Alrighty, well, this has been a wonderful where did I go? There we go. It's been a wonderful Ramsey Show Aftershow show on this Independence Day 2024. And again, answering your financial questions. That's the weekend show at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays and Sundays. Music playlist with 9, soon to be 11 Ramsey adjacent songs. And of course, this show, the Ramsey Show Aftershow show. The next one, I do not know exactly when it will be, but I don't think the next week, but the week after that. So the the July teen days, somewhere in there. And I'll post that on this weekend's Answering Your Financial Questions streams. I'll have that in there if I know what date that'll be. All right, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And make smart financial decisions every day.